I was 24, drowning in a sea of bills with a bank account that mocked me every time I checked it. My paycheck vanished faster than a summer storm, swallowed by rent, takeout, and a car that seemed to break down just to spite me. I wasn't lazy. I worked 50 hours a week at a dead-end job, chasing a dream of stability that felt like a cruel joke. But the real gut punch? I looked around and saw friends my age buying houses, traveling the world, while I was stuck eating instant noodles, wondering where it all went wrong. That's when I stumbled across Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki and Sharon Lechter. A book that didn't just change my financial life, it ripped my entire worldview apart and forced me to rebuild it from scratch. Let me take you back to that moment. Picture this. It's 2 a.m. I'm sprawled on my couch, scrolling through my phone, numb from another day of grinding at a job I hated. My apartment was a mess, dishes piled high, laundry spilling out of the basket, a physical reflection of the chaos in my head. I was earning $32,000 a year, barely enough to cover my $1,200 rent and $300 car payment. After taxes, groceries, and the occasional bar tab to drown my sorrows, I had maybe $50 left each month if I was lucky. I wasn't living. I was surviving, one paycheck at a time. The worst part, I thought this was normal. I thought this was just how life works for people like me. Then, one night, a random YouTube video mentioned Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The title sounded cheesy, like some self-help scam, but I was desperate. I ordered a used copy for $8, thinking, what do I have to lose? When it arrived, I cracked it open, and within the first chapter, I felt like I'd been slapped awake. The book tells the story of two fathers, one poor, a highly educated man who struggled financially, and one rich, a businessman who built wealth through unconventional thinking. The poor dad's mantra was, go to school, get a good job, work hard, save money. That was my life. That was the script I'd been following, the one my parents drilled into me, the one society sold me. And it was failing me. The rich dad's philosophy, work smart, not hard, make money work for you, not the other way around. I remember reading about assets versus liabilities and feeling my stomach twist. Kiyosaki explained that assets put money in your pocket, like investments, real estate, or businesses, while liabilities like cars, credit card debt, or even your fancy degree take money out. I looked at my life, my car, my student loans, my closet full of clothes I couldn't afford. All liabilities. My net worth? A whopping negative $15,000. I wasn't building wealth, I was digging a deeper hole every month. I felt betrayed. Not by my parents or my teachers, they meant well, but by a system that taught me to trade my time for pennies while the rich were playing a different game. I stayed up all night, my heart racing, scribbling notes in the margins of that book. I realized I wasn't just broke, I was financially illiterate. I didn't know how money worked. I didn't know how to make it grow. I was a hamster on a wheel, running faster and faster, going nowhere. But that book planted a seed, a dangerous, exhilarating idea that maybe, just maybe, I could rewrite my story. It wasn't easy to face those truths. I had to admit I'd been naive, that I'd bought into a lie about working hard being enough. I thought about my poor dad, not my actual father, but the mindset I'd inherited. The one that said a stable job and a 401k were the golden ticket. Meanwhile, my bank account was screaming, "You're doing it wrong." I cried that night, not out of sadness, but out of rage. Rage at myself for wasting years, rage at a world that didn't teach me better. But that rage turned into fire. I decided I wasn't going to be the poor dad's disciple anymore. I was going to learn the rich dad's game. That was my wake-up call, but it was just the beginning. I didn't have a rich dad to mentor me, and I wasn't about to quit my job and risk everything. But I knew I couldn't keep living paycheck to paycheck, praying for a raise that might never come. Rich Dad, Poor Dad didn't hand me $1 million, it handed me a mirror. It forced me to look at my choices, my habits, habits, and my excuses. And let me tell you, that mirror was brutal. But it was also the first step to changing everything. That fire in my gut after reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad was burning. But I was still staring at a negative bank balance and a life that felt like a treadmill stuck on high speed. I wasn't about to become a millionaire overnight, but I was done being a financial zombie. The book didn't just wake me up, it gave me a roadmap, a way to claw my way out of the hole I'd dug. I started small because I had to. I didn't have a trust fund or a rich uncle, just a beat-up laptop and a hunger to change. Here's how I turned those lessons into action, step by step, and how you can too. First, I had to get real about my money. Not just glance at my bank app and wince, but actually track every dollar. I downloaded a free budgeting app. Nothing fancy, just something to log my income and expenses. I spent a week categorizing everything. $200 on takeout, $75 on subscriptions I barely used, $150 on gas for a car I could barely afford. It was embarrassing. I was bleeding money on things that didn't matter. So I slashed what I could. I cancelled Netflix, switched to cheaper coffee, and started cooking at home. That alone saved me $300 a month. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a start. Step 1. Know where your money's going, because you can't fix what you don't see. Next, I tackled my mindset about earning. Rich Dad, Poor Dad hammered home that a job isn't the only way to make money. I was terrified to think beyond my paycheck, but I started small. I had a closet full of old clothes, electronics, and books I didn't need. I listed them on eBay and made $600 in a month. It wasn't life-changing, but it was proof I could generate cash outside my 9 to 5. Then I looked for skills I could monetize. I was decent at graphic design from messing around in college, so I took on a $200 logo project for a friend's startup. That grew into $1,000 a month in freelance gigs. Step 2. Find ways to make money beyond your job, even if it's just $50 at first. Every dollar you earn outside your salary is a step toward freedom. The big one, though, the one that changed everything, was learning to invest. Rich Dad, Poor Dad talks about assets, things that put money in your pocket. I didn't have much, but I started with what I had. I opened a low-cost brokerage account and put $100 into a simple index fund. I didn't need to be a Wall Street genius. I just followed the book's advice to start small and stay consistent. Every month, I funneled $50 from my budget cuts into that fund. I also read up on real estate, but with no savings for a house, I got creative. I rented out my apartment's spare room on Airbnb for $500 a month. That cash went straight into my investment account. Step 3. Buy assets, not liabilities. Even if it's just $10 a month, start building something that grows. I also had to face my debt. I owed $12,000 in student loans and $3,000 on credit cards. The book made it clear. Debt is a chain, and I needed to break it. I used the snowball method, paying off the smallest debt first for a quick win. I threw every extra dollar at that $3,000 credit card bill, clearing it in 6 months. The relief was unreal. Then I tackled the student loans, doubling my payments by cutting more expenses and hustling harder with freelance work. It took 2 years, but I paid off $10,000. Step 4. Attack your debt like it's your enemy, because it is. The final step was education. Not the kind you get in a classroom, but real-world financial literacy. I devoured books, podcasts, and YouTube channels about money. I learned about compound interest, tax strategies, and side hustles. I spent an hour each night studying instead of scrolling social media. It wasn't sexy, but it was powerful. Knowledge became my weapon. Step 5. Never stop learning about money, because the world won't teach you unless you seek it out. The results? After 2 years, I wasn't rich, but I was free. My bank account grew from negative $15,000 to a positive $5,000. I had $2,000 in investments, a side hustle bringing in 1,000 cheesons a month, and no credit card debt. I wasn't living like a king, but I was sleeping better, stressing less, and dreaming bigger. I could look in the mirror and know I wasn't the same person who cried over instant noodles at 2 a.m. The best part? I wasn't special. I didn't have a secret formula or a lucky break. I just followed the steps rich dad, poor dad laid out and took action, one gritty, unglamorous move at a time. The moment I realized I wasn't chained to my old life anymore, it was like waking up from a bad dream. I wasn't rich, not even close, but I had something better: control. Control over my money, my time, and my future. Rich dad, poor dad didn't just teach me how to budget or invest, it rewired how I saw the world. It showed me that wealth isn't about luck or a big paycheck, it's about choices. And now I'm standing here, begging you to make a choice. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Because every second you wait, you're letting the poor dad's mindset win, keeping you trapped in a cycle of stress and struggle. You're probably thinking, this sounds great, but where do I start? I get it. I was you, staring at a negative bank balance, feeling like the game was rigged. But here's the truth. The only thing rigging your life is inaction. You don't need $1 million or a finance degree to change your story. You need to decide right now that you're done living paycheck to paycheck, done letting debts suffocate you, done believing the lie that working harder is the only way. Take that fire I felt at 2 a.m. on my couch and make it yours. Pick up Rich Dad, Poor Dad today. It's not just a book, it's a wake-up call. Read it, highlight it, let it shake you to your core like it did me. Then do something. Start with one step from my journey. Download that budgeting app tonight and track every penny you spend this week. Sell something you don't need, those sneakers collecting dust, that old phone in a drawer. Use that money to open a brokerage account, even if it's just $20. Look at your job and ask, what skill can I turn into a side hustle? Maybe it's writing, designing, or even walking dogs. There's always something. And don't stop learning. Spend 30 minutes tonight watching a YouTube video on investing or listening to a podcast about financial freedom. Every small action stacks up, like bricks building a new life. Why does this matter? Because I've seen what's on the other side. 2 years ago, I was drowning in $15,000 of debt with no savings and no hope. Now I've got $5,000 in the bank, $2,000 growing in investments, and a side hustle that pays my rent. I'm not telling you this to brag, I'm telling you because if I can do it, so can you. Imagine waking up without that knot in your stomach, knowing your money is working for you, not against you. Imagine taking a trip you've always dreamed of, or just paying your bills without sweating. That's not a fantasy, it's a choice. But here's the hard truth. Nothing changes if you don't. You can watch this video, nod along, and go back to scrolling, spending, and stressing. Or you can draw a line in the sand right now. Be honest, how much is your current life costing you? Not just in dollars, but in time, in peace, in dreams you've buried. I want you to pause this video, grab a notebook, and write down one thing you're going to do today to take control of your money. Maybe it's buying that book, cutting one useless subscription, or listing something for sale. Whatever it is, do it. Don't let this moment slip away. And hey, if this story hit you, if it made you feel that spark, don't let it die here. Hit that subscribe button so we can keep this journey going together. I'm dropping videos every week to share what I'm learning, what's working, and what's not. Let's build this financial freedom thing as a community. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's the one thing holding you back from taking control of your money? Maybe it's debt, fear, or just not knowing where to start. Share it, and let's figure it out together. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, send them this video. You could be the spark that changes their life. This isn't about getting rich quick. It's about getting free. Rich dad, poor dad showed me the path, but I had to walk it. Now it's your turn. What are you waiting for?